Hello everyone, my name is Clay, and welcome to another Nerdy Moment review, and today we'll be spending it discussing the delightfully weird, creative, and interesting game known as Disco Elysium. This game is something else, to be quite honest, and if you're interested in RPGs and have not tried this gem out, then you really should find a way to fit it into your schedule. The premise of Disco Elysium is simple sounding. You wake up after an all-night bender of drugs and booze with no memory of who you are at all. As you piece together who you are, or you don't, you can choose to ignore doing this. You learn that you are supposedly a cop here in the city of Martinez to solve the hanging murder of a John Doe. Along the way you will discuss philosophy, socialism, communism, capitalism, moralism, union rights, possibly do massive amounts of drugs, paint graffiti, talk to people in church rafters, and maybe solve the actual crime. Yes, this game features politics and political discussions along with murder, rape, drug addiction, mental issues, and more. None of it is played for laughs either. The game handles these sensitive matters in a real way, with nothing being treated as the right way. It's up to you, the player, to decide how you want to proceed and how you want to roleplay your character in these situations. The story is the centerpiece of this game, point of fact, and it's designed to be replayable, with some quests or tasks being hidden or simply not obtainable depending on your character's skills and build. The ending is... well, I'm really not sure how I feel about it, to be perfectly honest. It makes sense in the context of the game, and as far as I've been able to find, there is only one real ending. There are, however, a variety of silly fail states where you can get a game over depending on certain events or failures. A good example of the level of choice you have in dealing with problems in this game is getting into the harbor to meet the leader of the local union. You can talk to the guard, Measurehead, and convert to his way of thinking. You can fight him. Or you can do what I did and find a hidden way into the area. All options are valid and it's up to you to pick and choose how you want to approach based on your skills. Also, some skill checks are retryable, and they're usually white. If you increase a skill, after you fail a white skill check, you can go back and try it again. Red skill checks, however, in the game are not retryable. At all. Let's talk about those skills, point of fact. At the start of the game, you can choose from one of three pre-made builds based on intellect, physical, or charismatic in style, or you can build your own character entirely. You have 4 primary stats, which are intellect, psyche, physique, and motorics. And then you have 6 skills linked to each of those primary stats for a total of 24 skills. You cannot increase the primary stats through skill points, by the way. Instead, you can increase your skills up to their learning cap, which is dictated by the primary stat. So if your intellect is 6, for example, your encyclopedia skill will start at a +6, and then you have a learning cap of 6, meaning you can raise it up to a total bonus of +12 using your skill points. Also, your skills are all useful. Really. There is almost always a way to get through the game using any combination of skills. I, for instance, focused mostly on intellect and motorics, as my character was a smart and fast character, but not very healthy and not very likable. Further, your skills are also your party members. If you put more points into a skill, say, encyclopedia, as I did, it'll frequently make comments about your situation, or try to guide you to make specific choices. I ended up putting a few points in drama, for example, which let me easily tell when people were lying to me. There is a ton of variety here, and you will never be able to try all the things you want to do. Further, you have the Thought Cabinet system, which is incredibly unique. In essence, as you play, you will sometimes get thoughts in your head. Things like, when is my birthday? What is reality? Am I a communist now? And if you wish, you can equip those thoughts into your Thought Cabinet. Doing so will grant you a bonus or a penalty to a skill, like +1 encyclopedia or -1 drama, and you can remove that skill or thought at any time. However, if you leave the thought in there for a set duration of in-game time, which you can see on that Thought Cabinet screen, you will internalize it. It will then change into a new thing, becoming much better, generally granting better bonuses, having a much larger effect on your character. However, once you internalize it, you have to spend a skill point to remove it from there. Further, you also need to spend skill points to unlock new thought cabinet slots, so keep that in mind. By the end of the game, I actually had unlocked every thought cabinet slot rather than spending most of my points on upgrading my skills, and I worked out just fine. You will also find that you have equipment that will give you bonuses or penalties to your different skills as well. Again, there is a ton of customization and options for your character and how you approach the story, the problems, and your character's history. It's fantastic. The visuals of the game do a good job of setting the mood, with washed out colors that help the mood and tone of the area that you're in. Martinique as a city is not a happy place, and the area feels like it. The buildings are boarded up, the streets are littered with damage and trash, and everybody just sort of seems to be going through the motions trying to survive. The character models serve their function well enough, but they're not too fancy. The UI, however, is thankfully well done, and given the sheer amount of text, the way conversations are handled is solid, and are very easy to read and keep track of. Basically, you have a box on the right-hand side of the screen where all of the text will appear, you can scroll up and down, and you can clearly see all your choices. It's really, really nice. One thing that irritated me, however, just as a note, was that until you go to the bookstore and purchase one, you have no in-game map. So, as a tip, go to the bookstore, go to the second floor of it, go to the far back and you will see some maps hanging, and spend, it's like $1 in-game to buy one of the maps. It'll help tremendously orient you. The audio and soundtrack are also fairly nice, with music that perfectly again sets that mood and feel of the world that you're exploring. There is limited voice acting as well, which is all again real good. No real complaints here on the audio, but at times I did use my own soundtrack depending on the situation and my own personal mood. One thing to keep in mind is that this is a heavily narrative-driven game. You will not find combat here, nor will you find mechanics pertaining to combat, and you'll instead be expected to read. A lot. I only had one real instance of conflict, which was a major turning point in the story the game was trying to tell. And while there's a lot of variation in how you can complete the story, there's only one story being told here. This is a game where it's all about the journey rather than the destination. A single playthrough of the game took me about 16 hours, and I may go back and try a different character, but for now, I feel my time is done in Martinique. I don't regret my purchase at all, and if you're a fan of mature games with a ton of variety and options, then get this game ASAP. You can be as serious as you want, or as silly as you want, and the game will work with you to let you play in your own way and you're at your own pace. Disco Elysium is $40 on Steam, and it's well worth that price, and I'm curious where the developers will go from here, as they have earned a fan in me. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay nerdy and take care of each other. I'll see you on the next one. Hey there, I just want to say thank you for watching this video, and a special thank you to all my patrons who are listed over there on the right hand of the screen. If you want to get your name in those credits, feel free to check it out at patreon.com/terminallynerdy. And hey, be kind to each other and stay nerdy. Thanks.